There would have been volcanizations. Nobody could have prevented it. Therefore, what is needed is tolerance, acceptance of plurality, and respect for the core values of civilization. Once I very strongly expressed my views, and still I adhere to it. I cannot call a society civilized society if that society does not pay respect to its women. If women are brutalized, that society can never claim to be a civilized society. It is an uncivil society. And it is not merely the responsibility of the lawmakers or of the governments of the day to tackle these problems alone. It requires persons of public spirited like K.S. Rajamony and many others who have made their contribution. How the social reforms, how the social movement carried out in this country, and what is the inherent strength of our democratic polity. It is not only the Constitution, but free press, active civil society, and also the participating democracy. And here we must, as I mentioned, that in every system, there may be occasion when the fault lines develop. And if we ignore that, then our system will start crumbling. We find fault lines. Just a few moments back, I mentioned about our pride in our parliamentary democracy. How the people exercise their freedom of choice. How the Independent Election Commission conducts these huge affairs. And they do not come from heaven. Election Commission essentially consists of the civil servants. But those civil servants, when they are entrusted with this responsibility, they can act as independently as necessary. Even the Prime Minister of the country, to submit his nomination paper, is to stand before a junior administrative officer to take oath to the Constitution of India, and that junior administrative officer, perhaps he can never enter into the room of the Prime Minister, would not show respect by standing before him. This is the beauty of the system we developed. If there is a fault line, we must correct it. Legislatures and parliament are meant for expressing the grievances of the people and legislate. The float test cannot be converted into a muscle test. Elected members should have the right to express their opinion freely. Parliament's job is to make legislation. Parliament's job is to express the concerns, views and grievances of the people. And what has happened? Volumes of statistics are available. We find that in the first parliament, when our budget was extremely low, the first budget of India's independent India, revenue budget was just 293 crores of rupees. 226 crores, 297 crores. 226 crores were civil budget, 71 crores was military budget. Budget classifications was very simple, but the budget which Finance Minister has presented, which are yet to be fully approved by the Parliament, which will be done in the next leg of the parliamentary session, are more than 17 lakh crores of rupees. We have moved from less than 300 crores of rupees to 17 lakh crores of rupees. But are we doing justice? Are we analyzing the financial provisions in detail? Interested, informed debates are taking place on the floor of the House. How many days are disrupted? In democracy, as a student, I learned from my teacher, 3 Ds are essential: debate, dissension, and finally decision. Our system works on that principle. Policies will be debated. Dissent views will have to be heard. Finally, decisions are to be taken. And that is the job of the Parliament. That is the job of the legislation. More than 41% time of the 15th Lok Sabha was wasted for disruptions. Is it not the fault line? Doesn't create lack of confidence in the system? Therefore, this is the time that we must create the atmosphere where every institutions, sometimes some phrases are being used, phrases like judicial activism. Our Constitution have finely defined the activities of all 3 major organs: executive, legislature, judiciary. Judiciary is independent. Executive and legislatures, their relationships are very close. For every action, executive is responsible to the legislatures. But if these organs do not fulfill their jobs, then there comes the overlapping. Keeping that objective in view, our founding fathers, our forefathers observed. I am just quoting a few lines from Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's observation. When he said, in the ultimate analysis, it is a manner of thinking, a manner of action, a manner of behavior to your neighbor and to your adversary and opponent, which will determine the future of the democracy which we would like to have. Dr. Ambedkar, the maker of the Constitution and chairman of the drafting committee, on the concluding days of the Constituent Assembly, he made a very passionate appeal. I would like to quote a few lines from his observations. I quote, "However good a constitution may be, it is sure to turn out bad because those who are called to work it happen to be bad lot. However bad a constitution may be, it may turn out to be good if those who are called to work it happen to be a good lot. The working of a constitution does not depend wholly upon the nature of the Constitution. The Constitution can provide only the organs of state, such as the legislature, executive and the judiciary. The factors on which the working of these organs of the state depend are the people and the political parties they will set up as their instruments to carry out their wishes and their policies. Will Indians place the country above their creed, or will they place creed above country? I do not know. But this much is certain, that if the parties place creed above country, our independence will be put in jeopardy a second time and probably be lost forever. This eventuality we must all resolutely guard against. He went on saying further, if we want to maintain democracy, not merely in form, but also in fact, what must we do? In the first thing, in my judgment, we must do is to hold fast to constitutional methods of achieving our social and economic objectives. It means we must abandon the bloody methods of revolution. But where constitutional methods are open, there can be no justification for these unconstitutional methods. These methods are nothing but the grammar of anarchy, and sooner they are abandoned, the better for us. Unquote. What Dr. Ambedkar said, what Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru said, are essentially that democracy as an institution, constitution as an instrument of governance, can deliver goods, provided the handler of these instruments are well intended. I would like to conclude my observations by quoting another very eminent personality. 9 years from today, after 9 years, United States of America will complete 250 years of the establishment of USA, United States of America. The first had the written constitution. And when that constitution was drafted, it is related to that. It took some time to draft the constitution. Working out after conclusion of the deliberations of the Constitution Convention in 1787, a lady, Mrs. Pommel of Philadelphia, asked Dr. Benjamin Franklin, who was a member of the drafting committee, well, doctor, what have we got? A republic or a monarchy? Benjamin Franklin's answer was, Madam, a republic. If you can, keep it. We have got our democracy. People have expressed their faith and confidence in democracy. We, the political and social activists, have the tremendous responsibility to keep it. And perhaps that would be the most appropriate homage and respect to Sri K.S. Rajamony. And perhaps we will be appropriately able to convey the right message through this memorial lecture. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for that thought-provoking lecture. I now call on to the stage Srimati Leela Ganesh, daughter of K.S. Rajamony and Vice President of Optima Insurance Brokers Private Limited, to please hand over on behalf of the foundation a memento to the Honorable President of India as a token of appreciation. This is a Taliyola Grantham, a replica of a palm leaf manuscript printed on finely processed laminated paper resembling palm leaves. It contains the Adhyatma Ramayanam with illustrations and is symbolic of the ancient culture of Kerala. This has specially been done by Rajesh Kumar of Palm Leaf Innovations, a national award winner in printing. Thank you, Leela. Sir, we would also like to present you with a mural of Goddess Durga, painted by a group of artists from the Institute of Mural Painting, Guruvayur. I request Dr. Saroj Thapa Venu, daughter-in-law of K.S. Rajamony, to please hand over the mural to the President. Both these gifts were specifically chosen for you, sir, keeping in mind your deep interest in history and knowledge of the scriptures, and the fact that they are typical of Kerala. Thank you, Saroj. And now, as we come close to the end of a memorable evening, I'd like to request Sri R. Balachandran, elder son of K.S. Rajamony and chairman of Bumer Core Investments Private Limited, to please express the gratitude of the K.S. Rajamony Foundation. I'm Sabita Balachandran, and Leela Ganesh and I wish you good evening and goodbye. Thank you.
The Honorable President of India, the Honorable Governor, the Honorable Chief Minister, other dignitaries on the dais, ladies and gentlemen, when you heard the impassionate speech of the President, I'm sure there were stirrings in your heart. He explained the transformation and the metamorphosis of this country, taking us through a journey where what India was, what India is, what India could be, provided. What he was really trying to say is, India could be an explosive force in the geopolitics of the world, provided we don't implode from within. That is the essence of the message he was trying to say. The Constitution of India, the democracy, as he said, the 3Ds. And when he mentioned the 3Ds, I remembered a small couplet, which I may take permission from the President, because one of his favorite authors, Rabindranath Tagore, in 1910 expressed what he felt India could be. When the mind is without fear, where the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls. He goes on to conclude,